Curiosity killed the cat, or so they say. But even if you are less of a animalistic kind, you might still find some truth in that statement. Maybe even relate to it to some degree. Especially in our childhood, we often find ourselves drawn to things that are new and uncertain, possibly even dangerous. Maybe it's the locked door of a basement your parents told you not to enter when you were young. Or maybe a movie on late night television that you damn well knew you weren't supposed to watch. Even when there was an imminent threat of repercussions, such as scold or getting grounded, it seemed like that longing in us would never stop. One personal example I can think of was the super old and decrepit house that used to be in my hometown. Every once in a while I would pass by it, and I swear, every single time I did, I was overcome by a powerful desire to just go in there. One day I will, I used to think to myself. And if you expect some spooky haunted house stories now, then I must disappoint you. The house got torn down before it could ever come to that fateful day. In hindsight, maybe not too bad of a fact, considering that this old building was probably a hotspot for rats, shady people, and very unsafe construction, rather than wonder and adventure. But isn't it funny that I still think about this shitty rundown building years after its existence? And to be honest, if this house was still standing today, I would at the very least try to get a sneak peek. Well anyway, the point being, we sometimes find ourselves longing for something, even if other people tell us that we shouldn't. Or even when we know ourselves that it might be dangerous even. If you really wanted to go somewhere, but everyone told you that it's not a good idea, would you still decide to go? And even if you decide not to go, wouldn't there be at the very least a quiet voice in the back of your head, crying out to know the answer? As much as you try to suppress it, wouldn't there always be a feeling of longing? A desire to know the answer of what really lies beyond the horizon? Made in Abyss is a show that builds on the natural curiosity of the human mind everyone is at least in some way, shape or form familiar with. And it also builds on the natural fear of being brutally tortured, murdered or worse. Hey, what a beautiful show. So because I really hate doing plot synopsises and because I assume that you already know what I'm talking about, I will keep it simple. In Made in Abyss there's this thing called, what was it again? What was Obama's last name? Ah, right. So in Made in Abyss there's this abyss that is, really deep, and our two main characters, Rico and Rek, decide to go down there. But as you might expect, the abyss isn't exactly without its dangers, to put it lightly. Oh yeah, it definitely isn't. I'm not the first nor the last one to tell you that this show isn't really for the faint of heart, but just in case, you've been warned. What I really want to preface, however, is that Made in Abyss is not your typical edgy gore story that uses its disturbing imagery for some quick shock value. Personally, I'm way past the point where shows that only try to be dark and disturbing for the sake of it have a lasting impact on me. Yes, I know, weird flex. Hashtag I'm not like the other kids, hashtag badass. But basically what I'm saying is that the show is so much more than just terrible things happening terribly, even though it's admittedly a big part of the show. I think if you look around, it's very easy to get the impression that Made in Abyss is just a completely gruesome and horrible story. But in my opinion, this is only half of the truth. Made in Abyss can be dark and gruesome, but it can also be stunning and beautiful. I mean, look at this awesome scenery. The world of Made in Abyss might be terrifying, but it's also incredibly vast. Many stories we will encounter along the way might be heartbreaking, but they can also be beautiful. The Abyss is neither good or evil. It takes, but it also gives. It may be the place of some of humanity's greatest suffering, but at the same time it's a place of desire, adventure and beauty. Made in Abyss sucks you right in, and I think part of the reason why its world is so intriguing is because you really never know what is around the corner. Could be poop, a beautiful valley, or something entirely different. And because of that, reaching a new layer genuinely feels like a big achievement every time. Because, well, it is. Our characters have to go through all kinds of hardships that will test them physically and especially mentally. But it also makes every little bit of progress so satisfying. Because every single time we get there, we are rewarded with something that is so unique and different to everything that came beforehand. It might not be an easy road, but it also enables us to explore more and more of this bizarre world and get a step closer to the truth. Curiosity killed the cat, they say. But hey, cats have 9 lives after all, don't they? So maybe it's okay sometimes to give in to your inner desire. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, you might find something extraordinary. Even if the path until you get there might be incredibly painful. That longing never stops. Well, at least for me, that's what Made in Abyss is all about. As always, thank you for watching and goodbye.